The Blazing Sun is back after a quick bug fix, and it can do some insane stuff now, so let's check it out, getting 104,000 cash spare here on Peninsula Chimps. Now, I'm actually going to swap this with the date upload of the other run that I did right after the Blazing Sun got buffed, which was on Ravine Chimps. It wasn't like a crazy amount of cash spare, so it wasn't like necessarily super keen on it. That kind of more accurately reflects its power, because this one has some pretty interesting quirks that make it go super cheap. Overall, it's not the most insane tower, but it's not a super bad tower. I think it's a pretty mediocre tower. If it just got like lead popping power, for example, like normal type damage, I'd say it would be a very balanced tower, but in this state, it's pretty good. So I'm going to be starting off here just by going with this Desperado. We're going to get Etienne and a Juggernaut, and then that's going to fly right into the Blazing Sun. So on this map, Peninsula, it's just going to be really good for Desperado because it's pretty long, and with Etienne, all that range buff stuff, I'm going to get like global range, which is going to be crazy. On top of that, because it's going to be on the top and so far away, it's going to get that full attack speed bonus that it gets from being further away from Bloons without really inhibiting its capabilities, which is something that no other map really does, to be honest, at least that I can think of, that's like of at least considerable difficulty, which is pretty cool. I guess Infernal can do that, but not really sometimes. I mean, Infernal's also just really easy, so it's not like that would be much of a challenge if you could get Churchill to carry it. But basically, I run with this. It's pretty good in the early game. The Big Iron can do some work. Again, it's not the craziest thing, but it's not a bad option. And I can go straight into the Twin Sixes. I haven't really played around with like how strong the Twin Sixes is, but it seems all right. And then the Juggernaut's just gonna be doing the rest of that early game, like getting the leads down. So now this actually is to a different attempt. That first attempt that I had recorded for the early game, that ended up getting to 98, and I kind of gave up there, and I wanted to kind of reroute these placements and all. So I put the Desperado over just a little bit, and I get the super glue, which is placed right there. That's going to become a super glue in a little moment. That's kind of more towards the back because I want it to do more so cleanup, or like be better positioned for cleanup on round 198 than a higher up position, which is where it was before, which is going to be very important. So I grabbed that for a super glue, and with the Blazing Sun, the tier 5 up there, a 520, it's going to go all the way through. The super glue is also going to get much more range from Etienne, and it's going to get camo detection, which is really nice. That's kind of important. And then that village up there is just going to give drums and primary training and a bit more range too, which is also very important. Leading up to the late game, there weren't really any hard rounds, I'd say, besides 63, which took an unreasonably long amount of time to beat on every attempt that I've done it after like redoing the placements to kind of get a little bit better. Round 63 was just always such a pain, and it took a lot of RNG, a lot of micro to be able to beat that. And besides that, everything else was super free. I was able to cruise into about 94, which is where the first issues came in. I just had to do some simple micro to beat 94, 95, 96, then 97 was free, and then 98 and 100 is where everything comes together. Like all the difficulty of the entire run is concentrated into 98 and 100 alone. And this one was pretty difficult for the reason that this was actually a run that I saw before. I should have mentioned this like when the video started, but this is an optimized version of a run. So You're Here, I think posted this on the Index server, the Expert Chips channel of the Index server. It looked like this. It was a really good run, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but I guess I mentioned it here. But I looked at this and I said that alk buff on the super glue definitely can be cut. I just looked at it, I'm like, that thing can be cut. I want to try that. So I spent way too long doing this than I'd like to admit. But man, doing round 98 without that what is it, the alk buff on the super glue. Yeah, doing 98 without the alk buff on the super glue, it was possible. Ended up doing it, as you'll see, but my golly, it was very, very difficult. And I'll kind of explain like what I had to do. It was super advanced stuff. It was not easy to pull off to be able to get that to work. So all of that, but with that, if I cut alk buff, I'd be getting like 106.5 thousand saved up. And as you notice from the thumbnail, now I did optimize it just by a little bit. I only got 104k, so where did that extra like $2,500 go? You'll have to see on round 100 for that, but I did do the 98 without the alk buff, and it did get cut, which indeed was pretty cool. And also, on top of that, I later realized that that run, I did not know that at the time, and I did this entire challenge before I learned this, but that run was an optimization of Ryan Mihalik's run on his BTD6 channel, Mihalik Pops. You've probably seen it. It's like popping off and stuff, where he did it. That was before the buff, but it was pretty unoptimal, and You're Here decided to try to optimize that, and then I saw it after, I guess, and was like, I can cut one alk buff, and went crazy doing that. So yeah, that's kind of the progression of this challenge. But anyways, you saw there around 95 was like absolutely free. That thing just melted. 96, I just took it slow, did some simple micro. 97 went away, and then 98 is here, and this one took I think like 2 hours to complete, which is a pretty long amount of time. So basically what I had to do here is I had to be 100%, well, not quite 100%, like 98% optimal with every single super glue projectile. It always had to hit something meaningful, and that doesn't mean just leaving it on strong so it hits the ZOMGs. I had to kind of separate the glue around so things that got popped in a correct order. The blazing sun wouldn't get overwhelmed by too many ceramics. Everything would be held back well enough. The super glue wouldn't be hitting meaningless targets, and Etienne would be making use of Pierce whenever possible without overrunning everything. It was a lot of micro, and I had to get down the targetings of the super glue very, very well and very precise, and it just took a very long amount of time. Plus on top of that, there was RNG too. So you'll notice that I'm constantly switching the targeting of the super glue from strong to first, and this is to make sure that everything meaningful gets hit. If there's a bunch of Moabs that are leaking, that needs to get hit, but if not, it needs to go back to strong to keep the ZOMGs farther away so they don't get to the BFBs fast enough, or I need to set it to close maybe to get the BFBs that are kind of in the middle of the pack. All of that, set it to first at the right time. And if I mess it up, if I set it to first a little bit too late, the Moabs are going to come through. If I don't set it on strong enough, the ZOMGs are going to get too far. If I don't set it to first when the BFBs are there, it just gets all crazy. So round 98 was very, very difficult. Round 99 wasn't too hard. I just did that in, I think, 2 tries actually. And then round 100 came, and I did not have my level 20 UCAV up at the start, which is a pretty big disappointment because I need to be able to pop the bad layer as early as possible. And with what I have, this is the earliest it would pop, and it just really isn't enough. So unfortunately, I had to spend some money to pop the bad layer open earlier and then get super, super lucky with glue and the blazing sun. And the cheapest I ended up finding that wouldn't drive me insane was a 300 Desperado, which did cost a little bit, but this is still cheaper than the alk buff, so I will be saving like $1,000. It pops it open right about there, which kind of sucks because if I had just a little bit more damage, like it was not a lot of damage that I was missing, I would have been able to get this with 106,000 cash spare, but I guess we have to just deal with that sometimes. And then with this, these UMGs are still really far back, but now that they are like considerably farther back than they were before, with a lot of luck and good splatters and stuns from the super glue and good placement with the Etienne UCAV, I'm just barely able to take it down and win with 104,000 cash spare. Along with this, Blazing Sun did indeed get the most pops. Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!